Welcome to episode 138 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. We're going over the prelims of UFC Fight Night, Holm versus Bueno, Silva. And man, 7 fights on these prelims, and I think we got a couple like prospects emerging from here that like kind of matter, right? Like
I mean, I know the
we got a
first.
16-0 guy from Kazakhstan, which we've heard that story before, and a
You know
couple
what?
other guys that
I'll say we've heard that story before, but when you saw, I'll push back on that. I don't know that I'm so high on him after this performance.
I also tough debut. We're talking about Maxim and
That's a
Tyson Nami.
super fair point that Nam is like almost a top 15 guy.
I'm a Nam guy, and like I was kind of hinting at a little Nam sprinkle because I was like, regardless, bro, if you're making your debut, you ain't ever fought nobody like Tyson Nam, like in the flyweight division that can like spark you at any second. Like, so we'll get to that fight. But first up, we got. Oh, so I'm gonna go check to my recycling bin real quick because we got some cans to crush real quick.
Oh, you mean 6-5, Ashley Evans Smith? You mean the girl that almost has as many losses as wins coming into this fight?
Yeah, and she's taking on at plus 215, taking on Island Perez minus 255. Which, speaking of tough debuts, 0-1 in the UFC, but she debuted against Stephanie Egger, lost to a sub, and Egger's like a sub specialist. So it's like, I don't know. I didn't hate it. Like I didn't, I wasn't counting her out. That's a tough ass debut. And so to bounce back against a can like Ashley Evans Smith, so this was going to be the first, as far as at the book first, as far as our podcast goes, the last leg on our parlay. Our parlay was 3-0 on the main card. It was a 4-legger. We bet Perez as the fourth leg / the first leg.
Boy, it felt
and
easy too. It felt good. It felt
yeah,
good.
bro. Like, and it was just, bro. The crazy thing is, I was like hella fading Ashley Evans Smith, but that's before I didn't do deep enough dive to realize that she hadn't fought in 3 years. I would have faded her if she took 3 years off, and I was still fading her before I knew that. So once I found that out, I was like, throw it in the bag.
So I wonder if they just like in like the UFC's mind, they know like this girl is pretty good. She has a DQ loss before her loss to Stephanie Egger, which sounds kind of fugazi to me. So
Yeah, illegal knee, so she pulled a Peter Yan.
yeah,
What it
which
sounds like.
and then yeah, the Egger debut is tough. That is tough. It's gone to Ivasa, so that means that she was in France, also super tough.
Yeah, Egger's a European fighter, so a whole home field advantage there. I mean, but yeah, man. So Island Perez, nice little prospect here. It seems as if the UFC's trying to get her a win. And as a bettor, you got to keep an eye out for those because, like, just like they've been doing with Bo Nickel and certain guys, they'll give them a little feeding, and you got to spot that and throw it on your parlay. That's what we did here on the Beefy Boys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a great call by you. It was one of those ones where I'd like someone else, I'm pretty sure, and you were like, Perez is a way safer lock. Like, I think we should just take that minus 240 and eat those odds on a 4-legger, which is
And
the
it
right
got up
move.
to minus 255. So, man, the Reno casinos were giving us good odds this weekend. So,
They
shout
really
out.
were.
That
They really
isn't
were.
always the case.
It is
Almost
almost
every-
never the case.
Yeah, it's almost every leg we got a better value than it closed at as the ESPN line. So that's cool. Yeah, fight taking place in the bantamweight division. And man, I have a 10-8 in round one, man. I'm gonna come out and say it. There was 3 takedowns.
Yeah, I do
like,
too.
Million unanswered ground and pound strikes. Like I think probably could have, and I'll go ahead and say should have been stopped like a few different times.
I thought at like the halfway point of the round when she was just standing up, like wailing on Evan Smith, like Ashley Evan Smith was almost not defending, like was almost just shelling her head, and I swore the ref was going to stop it. Like in my eyes, I was watching it and I was like, okay, like has to be a 10-8, right? The reason I say has to be a 10-8 is because I think there's 2 rounds that almost have to be 10-8s, but if this one's not, then like for sure the next one's not.
Okay, I like how you described that because that was my only 10-8. I'll get that out of the way. That was my only 10-8 I gave out. So it sounds like was it in round 2 or was it round?
Round three. Round 2, I actually thought that I was amazed. Evan Smith did a fair job of staying. I mean, she still gets taken down, still gets controlled, still eating damage.
Well, and how easy the takedowns came in round 2 really jumped off the screen to me. Like I literally have at will in my notes. Like she uses the zero resistance.
Right.
No, she was able to get back.
That's
to the feet.
that's the thing
get
is she
3
was able
takedowns.
to continuously get back up, which was like negating the amount of damage that she was taking because she was actually fighting the position, which was making Perez have to fight some position, and the times that she was going for damage, she was letting her back up. Now, to your point, takedowns at will, I'll let you back up every time if I can just put you right back down.
Yeah, fair enough. And also, second round was the round in which Evan Smith absorbed the least amount of damage. It's hard to say it's her best round. Like, that's just a kind of weird verbiage to use for that kind of performance. But it's the round in which she took the least amount of damage. And that leads us to round 3, which was another damaging, dominant round for Perez. I literally have in my notes, more damage than 2, less than 1. That was my logic for not going 10-8, because it was less damage than the established 10-8 round. If you gave round 3 a 10-8, I don't think you're crazy or out of line. I just kind of was using the standard that had already been set. But definitely more damage than round 2. And Evan Smith was, essentially just whatever. Perez was doing whatever she wanted to for the majority of this whole fight.
Right. And the only reason I brought up that point I gave round 3 a 10-8. Now, the only reason I bring up that point is because all 3 judges gave round 3 a 10-8, but only 2 gave round 1 a 10-8.
Wow, that's interesting.
I found that I don't know how round 1 isn't a 10-8. I almost have more of a problem with you, the guy on the whole not giving round 1 a 10-8, because she literally, Evan Smith was on her back for 4 minutes and 20 seconds, was close to getting finished, got rocked multiple times, had the ref shouting at her to defend multiple times. How's that not a 10-8?
Seems like a makeup call, right? Those will happen in football or basketball. All right, I got you on this next one. He kind of fumbled the first round. I was like, all right.
Yeah, but that's setting a terrible precedent, right? Because then he's saying all 3 judges gave round 3 a 10-8, but that guy didn't give round 1 when the other 2 did, and it's what my point was is that if the other 2 had given round 1 a 10-9, I guarantee that round 3 would have been a 10-9.
Yeah, fair point. Very inconsistent there. So, yeah, we got, 2 30-25 scorecards and 1 30-26 scorecards. I scored a 30-26, but in the opposite way of homeboy that actually scored a 30-26. Perez twerking after the win was kind of hilarious because both DC and Fabiano.
Fabiano Bushki.
They were shook. Fabiano was stuttering. So he was everybody was trying to pull the Joe Rogan and look fucking at the clouds in the opposite direction. Everyone's like, I'm not going to get mean. Fabiano did get mean.
Yeah, at one point
DC
he was
called him out.
He's damn, aren't you? Yeah, he was like, are you speaking English, Fabiano? Aren't you supposed to be translating? He was like, Meanwhile, Island Perez is just keeps twerking. That's her shit, which, all good, but that is going to make chicks fight her way harder. Because I guarantee you girls don't like that. Which, whatever, it's on them to stop it. But I'm just saying, it sucks to give your opponent juice in a game that's fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's that side of it. I think though, if you're in a position where you don't speak great English, you want to be marketable.
Shake that ass.
Kind of makes sense. You know what I can't do? Speak English. You know what I can do? Throw this fucking wagon back.
Well, bro, and the UFC crowd is probably the best audience to do that to. If you did that in a baseball game, they're not going to receive that well.
No, you're right. UFC fans, definitely the right target demo, especially the ones watching the prelims.
Right, the 74-year-old men that still watch baseball are not going to appreciate that. By the way, speaking of 74, saw the A's took their 75th loss yesterday, or today. 20-75.
I don't want to go too far down this sell the team rabbit hole here, but yeah, I am an Oakland A's fan, and we have a sports podcast, so I feel like it's kind of a relevant topic in a way. But I kind of been unintentionally boycotting this whole time just because they traded all my favorite players away. I was a big Matt Olson guy, big Matt Chapman guy, big Marcus Semien guy, all 3 All-Stars, all 3.
Isn't that the story of the A's, though, is great farm system, never keep the players. Since the 90s. Anybody.
No, yeah, it gets masked under this guise of Moneyball or whatever the fuck.
Well, it doesn't make
fugazi.
It doesn't make any sense. It's a small market. Hey, no, it's not.
It's not. That's a horse.
Bro, Oakland is bigger than Kansas City. You can't tell me Oakland isn't a bigger market than Kansas City. You just can't.
Well, it's a bigger market than Vegas, where they're trying to move. So, way to put your foot in your mouth in that argument. Vegas is a way smaller market than Oakland. Like that.
Vegas just costs so much more, and it's so many people that have the money to be there because it costs so much to live there or to like just to exist there. I think that's the
like
whole. That's the whole play. Is like Oakland is like, you know, there you can live for California standards rather cheap in Oakland because it isn't that nice. Vegas is like.
No, bro, you got it the other way around. Oakland's way more expensive than Vegas, like way more.
No, yeah. But I'm saying by state standards, right? Like in Nevada, Las Vegas is probably the most expensive place to live, right?
Actually, it's fucking Reno, bro. I'm in it right
really?
now. Vegas is actually cheaper than Reno because we got better weather and shit, and we're close to the bay.
I get that.
And like,
but yeah,
Nevada's literally in the desert, bro. Vegas is like in the desert.
But so like, what I'm saying is like Los Angeles is going to be more expensive than Oakland, right?
Honestly, no, bro. The Bay is.
I guess the Bay is crazy because the Bay is only comparable to Washington D.C. That's the only other place on earth where property values are like that.
Manhattan.
Oh yeah.
Like it's literally. Yeah,
but I've heard since COVID, New York has like plummeted in values.
Yeah, and a lot of people are leaving Cali too. But yeah, like sell the team, keep it in Oakland, build a goddamn stadium, you motherfuckers, and sign a goddamn player. Like,
well, honestly, keep a player. Like, keep players. Like, they develop players so well, and they draft so well.
Art McGuire.
And the zombies, but they let everyone go. They let fucking Johnny Damon. They let everyone go. It's just sad, man. Like, I don't understand. I've never seen a franchise that develops, maybe the Thunder, that develops so well and just markets their players out whenever. And they say it's the guys of small market. Like, that's bullshit.
Like, yeah, it's like I'm torn because the A's are the only team in MLB I give a flying fuck about. I can't stand the Giants. Fuck the Dodgers. Fuck the Rangers. I don't like no other team but
I like the Reds.
A's.
I like the Reds and the A's. But that's been tough as fuck for me.
But, like, I'm almost like a man without a team. Like, I don't watch the A's. I don't support them. I haven't even been really wearing my gear. Like, it's just tough right now. Like, they're dicking around. And if they move to Vegas, I mean – I'll say this. If they move to Vegas and start paying their players, like, I'm in. But if you just run another fucking tax fraud scheme and pocket some cash and keep doing the same shit, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I might have to unionize with the A's in Vegas and make them my only team, only because I have the Raiders and I've adopted the Knights, because why not? Because I don't have a hockey team in Vegas.
Just move to Nevada, dog.
I'm just gonna take Las Vegas as my professional sports city, and they'll never get an NBA team because they have UNLV, so I'd never have to worry about basketball. So I can always keep the Thunder easy.
Yeah, I'm still repping the Thunder for sure, but we'll keep it pushing here. Perez with the big win, the big twerk. Keep it pushing to Carl Deaton plus 190, taking on Alexander Munoz minus 225, and. You know, this was honestly kind of a dog water matchup. I mean, it ended up with a decent, like, entertaining fight. So, like, once again, that, like, you know, good on the matchmakers for, like, all right, we have two guys with kind of dog shit records and, you know, maybe not the brightest futures. Like, maybe we can match them up together and get a banger as they fight for their careers. It's kind of what we got here.
I mean, quite literally, you had texted us in the group chat about, like, what do we think about the Deaton Munoz action? For me, it was a no bet simply on the premise of, like, neither guy really should be in the UFC, and I just hate betting on that unless it's the under. Now, in this case, I would have been a fucking fool because they clearly went to decision, and I think that's probably more on the table with these guys anyway than, like, the last time we had this take about, I think it was middleweight, so we're like, neither guy should be in the UFC.
So, yeah, you had Alexander Munoz, who was 0-2 in the UFC, and they weren't the best losses. Hack Brass and Luis Pena, who I think is in prison now.
Like, they're getting worse. That was the problem, too, is, like, those haven't aged
like,
well.
Hack Brass isn't the worst, but, yeah, like, Hack Brass might not be in the UFC anymore either. And then you got Carl Deaton, who's, like, you know, literally a journey, and 0-2 in the UFC, 0-1 in the PFL. So it's just like, now, granted, I thought the reason why I like Deaton, some MMA match, he had a Justin James win and a Joe Selecki loss. I thought that was like a better on-paper resume. So I contemplated the Deaton plus 190 sprinkle, but, you know, as we'll get to, I'm glad we did it. Thanks for talking me out of that one, boys. But just like, yeah, I mean, honestly, this fight was all Munoz.
Yeah, but the Justin James win is so tough because that's Justin James post-UFC.
Right.
Like, that's not a UFC fight. So, like,
no.
For me, both guys, like, tapology-wise, I was getting just like, holy shit, these guys don't deserve to be here.
No, I agree. So that's what I'm saying. You giving me two kind of bad fighters, and you're giving me plus 190 on one. Like, that's why I was just like, listen, thanks for talking me out of it. I'm just like was contemplating the sprinkle here.
No, I get it. I get what you were working at. But yeah, I mean, you would have had to make it like plus 300 for me to think a sprinkle was worth it with the guy that, because just really neither guy belongs here. And I hate to say that for both guys, but like Munoz probably came too soon, and Deaton
he came way too soon.
Deaton ain't it.
And Deaton,
You're like, sorry, dog, you're 23 fights in now, like you ain't it.
Yeah, not it for sure. Should look into like a bare knuckle promotion or something. He just has that look, doesn't he?
Yeah,
doesn't
he does.
He look like he's
the rat tail out the back? Like, bro, you haven't seen a strong rat tail since the early 90s in the deep south. Like, you're talking Marty and McGee. McGee was talking about how he had a rat tail in high school, and that was like the hottest thing at his school was who had the longest rat tail.
You know, McGee was crushed.
You should have heard Marty talking about how his dad was like, yeah, no jewelry, but you can do whatever you want to your hair. And so Marty was talking about how he just had the cleanest mullet of all time.
Oh, hell yeah, that's fine. I need to see those pics. But, yeah, man, I mean, Deaton had a couple moments, but I don't necessarily think we need to go round by round. I mean, Deaton actually cut Munoz in the second round. Like, he had moments. I just thought Munoz, overall did more each round, like one each round. I had a 30-27 Munoz. But honestly, only one judge agrees.
I had a 30-27 as well. I didn't see really the 10-8, and I guess the second round is the one where Deaton, you maybe give it to him?
Yeah, well, so like round one, Deaton had some volume, but Munoz won the damage battle. And yeah, round two, where he cut Munoz, it had to be round two they gave to him, which I don't necessarily hate.
Right, I was going to say at least on a damage, like, you know, you have a leg to stand on when you give Deaton two. If you were trying to, oh my fucking god. Oh, I just made a mess of foam. I was trying to save myself. Michael, clip this. God damn it. God damn it.
This guy, I remember my first beer.
Fuck me. It's on my shoes, my carpet, my computer table, my fucking lap. Yeah, so I see how Deaton. It's my
oh, do you? Fucking guy. Get it together, dog.
With him just Willy Wonka in the beer river right now, just fucking drowning. Fucking. So yeah, I had 30-27. Sal D'Amato gave round two to Deaton. I don't love it, but I can at least understand it. Now, where I actually have more of a problem, I think.
Do you? Fucking do you? I'm fucking dead over here.
That beer's been sitting still for 3 hours in the fridge. Like, I don't know why it did that. I didn't drop all the way in. None of it makes any sense. But this is also Mike. This is also Derek Cleary, Mike Bell, and Sal D'Amato. Fuck. They're scoring this fight, so you know it's like three very seasoned judges. Hold on. And I just don't know how around three you give a 10-8. I just don't get it. I do not get it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was a knockdown, so, I mean, it was kind of like boxing kind of rules, I guess, if you want to, like, lawyer ball yourself to a 10-8. But, yeah, I didn't see it either. Deaton was scrapping and, you know, making it decently competitive. But, yeah, Munoz, the right man won, minus 227, gets his first UFC win, so, I mean, good on him. I said I'm not super hyped on him as a prospect. I'll say he's 7-2. He's 33 years old, though. He's kind of baby face. He kind of looks young, but he's 32 years old, so it's not, or 33, so it's not like, oh, he's some green prospect that needs all this time to develop. Like, you're right. You said it best, and we'll end it on this note. These guys ain't it. Sorry about it. Like,
it's just like, I hate to be that guy. It's just like, listen, neither of you guys really should be here, and I appreciate you fighting for my entertainment, but also, like, let's keep it pushing. And we will too, but, like, they should keep it pushing into their careers, unfortunately for their careers. Next up, we have Tyson Nam, salty 21-13-1 record, taking on a immaculate 16-0 record in Azat Maxim. What are the odds here?
Yeah.
Walking in Nam plus 320?
340, and then Maxim minus 450. That's why, like,
The
I was
sprinkle
kind of
was
making the
super justified here. Super justified. Like I think
because Tyson.
I think plus 210 or above for Tyson Nam here is sprinkle worthy. So for you to get it here, had to sprinkle it.
And was proven to be right. Now Maxim, 16-0, making his UFC debut out of Kazakhstan. I understand why he was the favorite, but goddamn, Tyson Nam's a tough debut and has elite power for the division. Like his power is top 5 in the division for sure.
I'm so interested to hear how you score this fight. I mean, so interested because I honestly like, in my mind, still, I kind of get robbery vibes.
Well, and hear this out, man. I have the word close in all caps in all 3 rounds in my notes. So I have winners that I picked, but this is one where you could argue either guy every round, like legitimately.
I thought
so. It's a razor close fight.
I thought 2 was by far the hardest round for me to score. I leaned certain ways in 1 and 3, but 2, I was like, I didn't know who to score.
Yeah, no doubt. Taking place in the flyweight division, kind of low key an important fight. And then round 1 was close, as I alluded to. I gave it to Maxim. The body kicks and just overall activity. Nam was stuffing the takedown, landed some calf kicks, and I think he actually had the significant strike numbers. So that's what I said. You can make an argument in every round. Like Tyson Nam, had the significant strike numbers, and Maxim really was just landing body kicks. Like there's an argument to give that to Nam. I gave it to Maxim. I guess you just want to say eye test. I thought he won the round.
I guess in my head I'm thinking that both guys are landing a good amount of kicks, but body kicks are A, harder to land, and B, more fight changing in my mind than a calf kick. Now I know a calf kick can end a fight, don't get me wrong, but I've also seen liver shots land to the body with kicks and like shut a guy off in the moment, right? So yeah, I waited to Maxim here. I do think it was a close, very competitive round. I think he just edged him on the damage more than anything. Now I really did.
Did all 3 judges give it to Maxim?
Yeah, so all 3 gave round 1 to Maxim. I really was impressed with Tyson Nam being able to stuff the takedown as much as he was, though. I thought that, as the moment I saw that and him firing back leg kicks, I thought to myself, like, oh man, he's fighting like a money in the bank. I'm going to win round 2 and 3 and let this guy blow his load in round 1. Like a vet-savvy approach to fighting a young and up-and-comer. I kind of loved what Tyson Nam was doing strategically, even though I didn't score him that round.
Yeah, and Tyson Nam is a live dog. Like, he knows how to fight these guys, man. He's a good fighter. I like Tyson Nam just as a fan. Now, round 2, as you said, probably the closest round, probably the hardest to score. I scored it to Maxim again, man. He won Nam at the start of the round, and then at the end of the round, he got off that long combo because it was kind of like up in the air, and then at the end of the round, Maxim had like a very extended combo where he was kind of teeing off. And I thought it still, I'm not going to say steal the round, but just like it was up in the air. He went up and got it. Now, Nam, great body work, kept up with the calf kicks, was still stuffing the takedowns, did some great work. There's a lot to like for Nam, man.
I think after hearing you break it down, it does probably paint a better picture for me as to why I feel this way. But like the continued calf kicks, the continued takedown stuffing, and minus the getting wobbled at the very start, which I almost had kind of forgotten about as the round progressed due to the fact that it was so early and it was like, oh, this guy's dangerous early and he hasn't been dangerous now for 3-something minutes. That combination did put me back on notice, is why I put like another very close round in my notes. I leaned to Nam this time. I thought the leg kicks were starting to take more effect, and I mean, just probably the back of my head, like knowing 10 minutes into a fight, eating that many leg kicks, they do start to add up, whether they're showing or not.
Well, this is kind of a cliche saying that we don't, love to use on this show, but it kind of was one of those situations where like Maxim was winning the sport, Nam was winning the fight. Like it was one of those type of.
It was weird, right?
It was a weird one to score. It was. And then, round 3, very, very close. See, I gave this one to Nam. Once again, he had the significant strike advantage, which was happy he had in the first round, too. I thought this one, he was moving forward. He was putting Maxim on that back foot of pressure with a nice visual.
I think cardio was the if I had one word to describe the third round, it's cardio differential. No, 2 words, fuck.
One word, cardio differential. Nam got off some pretty decent little clinch strikes there. Maxim got a takedown at the end of the round, but wasn't enough to steal it, or he didn't do anything with it really. It was at the
That
very last second of the round.
right, right, and the minimalized damage he was able to do. I mean, really throughout the whole fight with any of the takedowns he got. I mean, he had less than a minute of control time on the 2 takedowns he got on the 15 he shot.
So I scored at 29-28. Maxim giving him 1 and 2, razor close.
2 judges agree with you. I gave Nam 2 and 3. One judge agreed with me.
Fair. So accurately, I don't think anybody's crazy here. There was no wild scorecard. This was a weird one to score.
It's a weird.
I like.
It's a weird one to score, man. But just reading these numbers, when you hear the numbers, it doesn't. Tyson Nam actually had more control time. He defended 11 takedowns out of the 13. Maxim was 2 for 13 on takedowns, and Maxim landed 45 less significant strikes.
Yeah, no, Nam had the numbers going for him for sure. Now, a ton of those were cap kicks, and a lot of that control time was clinch control time. So it gets a little murky. It does. There's definitely an argument to make for Nam, though, and not even everybody gets an orange slice and goes home happy type of way. But seriously, there's an argument to be made for both of these fighters. I think the UFC is probably pretty stoked it went to Maxim. Because now he's 17-0.
They needed that. But also for me as a fan, it doesn't really put me on notice that Maxim's the guy that's going to go fight Cop, or hell, even Matt Schnell's going to put this guy in a blender in round 2 and 3.
What's about cardio? You can't be a flyweight without cardio. That's an oxymoron.
Yeah,
it's a prerequisite.
It's the biggest sin in flyweight is to not have cardio.
No, exactly. And then 17-0, not getting Hamza vibes at all. Not even getting Amir Albazi vibes. Maybe he'll prove
not
me wrong,
Shavkat vibes, not any of that.
No.
He's from the same country as Shavkat.
Yeah, Kazakhstan. So I'm not saying 17-0 is not a fluke. He's obviously very good. Tyson Nam also very good. You know what I mean? Tyson Nam he's 39 years old. How much does he have left in the tank? But so they said the UFC's got a new young guy. They can get into the mix of the division, and flyweight does need depth. So I'm here for it. He's not bad. He's an exciting addition to the division, but just not giving you that dominant Hamzat, Shavkat, that part of the world, Caucasus region. He's just not giving me that vibe.
I agree, man. And oddly enough, I think if these guys had fought even a year and a half ago, you get a worse version of Maxim and a better version of Nam, and it's probably a different decision, right? So it is the right time of his career to fight a guy like Tyson Nam. I think the matchmaking on that was beautiful as far as maximizing the name value, all that. But yeah, I'm down to keep it pushing. The next fight, I sprinkled some Valdez here. I really even liked him in the fight. I even liked the fight he put on. One judge does end up going 30-26. I don't see how he gets there.
Hell no, that was fucking horseshit. And yeah, we have our Valdez colored glasses on. We put a little sprinkle on Valdez. He was getting plus 245 against Evan Elder, minus 295 in the lightweight division. It was one of those situations where Elder, before this fight, was 1-1 in the UFC, and his loss was to Saudi Cobb, who beat Terrence McKinney on the main card. So, nothing really to be super stoked on, and a loss to Preston Parsons, who nobody's that high on. Meanwhile, Genaro Valdez had lost to Natan Levy and Matt Favola, who I respect more than the guys that beat Elder. So, it's kind of a whack when you have to compare losses. There's a lot of that on this card matchmaking-wise, but led to some great fights. And, once again, both of these guys seem to be on the same tier, and you're giving plus 245 on one. I just didn't see why the big number for Elder. And as the fight goes on, Elder fought fantastically, and Vegas comes out smelling like roses. But Valdez,
I guess I would say that fight was super close. And if Valdez has a little more gas and the third round can go a different way, for me, I had it 19-19 going into the third. And we can get into round by round, but just take a guess at who scored at 30-26. But of course, Adelaide Bird. But of course,
the bird strikes. Man, so yeah, round one, talking about round by round, just because every round was so close and hard to score. I went to Elder and won, body kicks, leg kicks, very accurate. And then he got a knockdown in the round as well. Valdez was swinging for the fences, but he was whiffing a lot. It was kind of a bad visual. I mean, he was landing too, but there was a lot of Elder just seemed tighter, crisper, more accurate.
Elder definitely was way more polished in round one, man, and had a better game plan. Valdez was just headhunting.
Yeah.
And I guess against a guy like Evan Elder, it's not like the worst approach because maybe he does get lenient and makes that mistake, you know. Luckily for Elder, he did not do that. And so, with that being said, yeah, I thought round one was case in point, damage and activity was Elder. And it wasn't to say that Valdez was like just getting blown out, but I was, as a Valdez better, thinking like, all right, like I like that he's swinging so like hard for the fences. Like I love the gusto, but let's tighten it up here.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely that. And then, round two was an absolute war. Like maybe like round of the year type candidate. I mean, absolute banger, like entertaining as fuck. Each guy knocked each other down. So it's really, you got to kind of nullify that. And what other work outside of the knockdown did you like, throughout the course of the round is at least how I view it. There was an eye poke to Valdez, which sucks because, no point was, taken or anything like that.
Kind of a bad eye
You
poke
know,
too. Like not my favorite
it
eye
was.
poke.
No, for sure. But man, I'm once again in a razor close war of a round. I leaned Elder. What really sealed it for me or swayed it for me was that late, like at the very end of the round, he got a knee to the head that was like pretty nice. And that was really the differentiating factor for me was that knee to the head late in the round because they each dropped each other. And Valdez, the damage was almost 50-50. Like I said, up until that knee, I was like, fuck, I don't know who I'm going to score this for. Elder lands that pretty, dope knee at the end of the round, kind of swayed me. I leaned Elder, but like barely.
Oddly enough, I thought Valdez was actually finding a home for some of those bigger strikes in round two. And even though Elder was
Mm-hmm.
keeping his activity up, I thought the damage was actually leaning to Valdez. And like you said, they both had the knockdown. So for me, I was like, well, knockdown apiece. Valdez did more damage. I went to Valdez. Now, that being said,
Don't hate it.
two judges have it 19-19 after two. Adelaide Bird has it 20-18. However, almost
Me and
everyone.
Adelaide just lost. Yeah.
However, almost everyone at
Oh,
home on
man.
Twitter was Evan Elder up 2-0. Evan Elder up 2-0. Because I remember sitting here watching and be like, how the fuck does no one have Valdez winning two? Like, that was a good ass round for him.
It was just like a good ass round for both guys. Like I said, I thought that knee at the end of the round was like very significant, and like that's what swayed me. He kind of like he who laughs last. Like he got the last like big moment in like a coin toss of a round. I mean, that was kind of caveman math, but that's how I arrived at my conclusion.
Man, you're pelican hunting a fry on the beach, man. You're a bird.
Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
You let Adelaide get in that head, bruh. But, so,
Man,
yeah,
you gotta love when that happens.
I think a big difference here too was you could see the gas tank of Valdez was starting to fade. It was starting to hit that like where you could tell he was starting to redline. Evan Elder still looked pretty tight, still pretty in control, not breathing as heavy. So it was one of those things of if the cardio fades here, Valdez is done for. And I kind of thought that was what took place in round three.
See, I mean, honestly, it sounds like I had round three closer than you had it, man. I like because I mean, Elder dropped Valdez with a jab at the very start of the round, but then everything after that was almost like a razor close war. I thought Valdez fought a great third round. Yeah, probably didn't have as much in the tank as Elder, but I mean, just was going on heart and balls. You know what I mean? And swinging for the fences.
No,
Still,
I fully agree. I just mean that like he didn't have the speed left to connect those swings, so they almost looked like almost a lot like round one where it was like these big whiffs, and it was just because they're both tired. And I get it,
yeah.
but shit, like that was his one way out was to win that round. Because for me, I had it 19-19. Like he didn't need, and on two judges' cards they had it 19-19. So he didn't need to be hunting a finish like that.
Yeah, but he couldn't like be like, oh yeah, like it was so close. There's no way he could be confident of that, and kind of rightfully so, as the judges proved. Me and old Adelaide, but yeah, man, I gave Elder the third round for that Adelaide Bird 30-27. What's good?
Do you think? Well, she's 30-26. She gave a 10-8 in the third, but you know.
Oh, okay. That's where the road splits. That's where Adelaide goes that way, and I go on my way.
That's where Adelaide goes. Adelaide.
Yeah, that's where Adelaide had to go full bird, and I clung to some grit of reality.
Bro, I don't know where she gets her scorecards from. I'll never fucking understand it. Let's keep it pushing. I don't really care about those guys' futures in lightweight. I'll be brutally honest with it. I don't see. I mean, Valdez getting cut. Sorry about it. 0-3.
Yeah, Valdez is gonna get cut.
Evan Elder 1-2. Like, I mean, what do you
could
really?
do Elder
you want
versus
McKinney?
Sadikov.
What McKinney?
Yeah, you could do that. That's a big fight. I don't know. Evan Elder.
Big fight. It's a loser leaves the UFC.
No.
Hell yeah, it is.
For McKinney, yeah.
If Evan Elder's 1-3 in 4 fights and he looks like shit, you gotta cut.
I thought he looked good.
Against Gennaro Valdez.
And
you're lightweight.
The other losses weren't in the UFC, so I mean, but yeah, he's 1-2 in the UFC. So yeah, I mean, you could give him a chance. McKinney, he gets the win. He's 2-2. Keep him pushing. How you doing? I don't know.
Oh, give him Drew Dober. He'll get fucking cleaned up by Drew Dober. He'll be a fucking.
He would.
Ooh. What about Bahamondes? Like Ignacio Bahamondes?
For some reason, I feel like he has a fight booked. I feel like I saw that name somewhere. Let me look it up real quick. Now I'm curious.
Probably more of an upward trajectory there too.
Bahamondes has a fight booked against Ludovic Klein on August 5th. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know how I knew that.
Honestly,
that's a good fight.
Don't hate the loser of that to get Elder.
Yeah, for sure. I think that would make a lot of sense for sure. But we'll keep it pushing here, man. We got Austin Lingo plus 190 against Melquizael Costa minus 225, featherweight division. I kind of like Lingo in this one. Once again, shout out to the boys for saving me that bet. But was it Melquizael?
Melquizael.
Melquizael, has struggled with grapplers in the past. Granted, that was up a division. He fought some at I think it was a loss to Moises at 55. So that's a tough matchup.
Yeah,
very tough matchup.
Especially going up 10 pounds, and he fought a good fight. I thought. Yeah, I remember him. He had the red hair with the black spots. The hair thing is actually smart because I remember his hair when he fights. It's the weirdest thing.
No, for sure. And then, Lingo, I thought he was going to wrestle more. I thought Lingo was going to wrestle more, and I thought that's where he'd be able to have some success. Now, granted, he wasn't ever able to really close that distance, which shout out, good job on Costa on that. So, Costa was able to really piece him up this whole fight. I thought round 2 was pretty close, but 1 and 3 were Costa was like spamming body kicks. It was insane, like how Lingo was able to eat him.
Yeah, Lingo's a tough ass dude. Like, definitely learned that in this fight. Did you give any 10-8s? I think that's probably the faster, because I think every round is a Melquizael Costa round. I don't think a round by round is necessary. However, there is one 10-8.
Lingo dropped Costa in 2. I thought it was like and he busted his nose up, and I don't know. I still lean Costa, so you're right.
Okay, that is what I was going to say. Is for as good as Lingo did in round 2, he still ate more damage somehow, which was crazy.
I'll say I like 29-28 more than I like 30-26 personally. I don't think Lingo got 30-26.
No, I fully agree with that. That was why I asked if you gave any 10-8s, because I kind of thought the 10-8 was out of line in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I agree. If anything, I thought it was more of a 10-8 in the 1st round than the 3rd round.
And that's Sal D'Amato.
Because those, I guess he's factored in the submission attempts there, but they weren't like that close. I didn't think they were good attempts, but I don't think they were like imminent finishes. I mean, clearly they weren't because they didn't finish him. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those fights where moving forward, I don't know what I love for Lingo.
Well, see, Lingo's a guy for me who, if maybe on UFC roster watch alert, because, I mean, I just don't see what's the skill set that he's bringing to the table besides
it's like
toughness.
And he has wins, wins and losses that are aging poorly. So Yusuf Zalal not aging well as a loss, right? But debuts, so we'll give it to you. And then he takes almost a year off, and he fights Jacob Kilburn, and he gets a decision win. All right, good. Takes 7 months off, fights Luis Saldana, gets a win. All right, it's, climbing the ladder. Fights Nate Landwehr after taking a year and a half off. Gets submitted. Comes back. This is the shortest break he's had between fights, 3.5 months. Loses. So I think the roster watch thing is very much on the table here. Now that being said,
he's 2-3 in the UFC.
That being said, he has one fight left on his contract because I know they do 2s and 4s or 6s if you're good enough. So like, he definitely had a 2-fight deal. Was 1-1. They gave him a 4-fight deal. On his 4-fight deal, he's now 1-2. If he loses again, he will be cut. But they're gonna give him one more fight.
They'll give him one more fight, and like I don't know, like Makizio Costa, like he looks fucking great. That striking is pretty goddamn good. It's just like I said. I mean, I don't know. Maybe at 45 he can deal with the wrestlers and grapplers. I don't know. Like, do you think? Are you excited for Costa's future, or how do you feel about him?
Oh man, I'm so back and forth on Costa because he does come from LFA, which I know like at least keeps a pretty solid foundation of fighters. But the problem is with Costa too, like, dude's kind of a journeyman. Like, he's been fighting since 2014 professionally. It's almost 10 years he's been fighting professionally. He's only 26. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, the miles don't match the age. So for me, I worry that like this is probably prime Melquizio Costa. Like, I don't think he's going to get better at 31 with that amount of miles. No, I agree with you.
I think there's a lot of featherweights that he puts away with those body kicks.
I fully agree, but I'm just saying that like if we're talking about let me get the name who's number 10. You know what I mean? If we're talking about Movsar Evloev or Sadiq Yusuf or Giga Chikadze, I don't love his chances. And if this is the best we're going to see of him, then like the UFC's got to figure out how to use him the right way to get the most out of him because he's entertaining, he's fun to watch, but he's not going to be your champion.
Yeah, and he looks cool and all that. No, for sure, I agree with that take. We'll keep it pushing here to what is it? Was it Dudakova's debut? We got Victoria Dudakova.
Victoria, I have 3 eyes in my first name. Victoria Dudakova fighting Estela Nunes. Yeah, this fight. And now Nunes comes in with a 6-4 salt record. Dudakova coming in with a 6-0, a clean. I don't know what's up with the salty records versus clean records in this, and why they were good fights most of the time too. This is not a good fight. This fight wasn't close, and by not close, I mean they didn't actually fight.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean, bro? Dudakova got that 34-second TKO.
Yeah, that TKO, that doctor stoppage. It was tough, man. I mean, did I send the picture of Nunes' arm in the group chat? I did or didn't?
No, but I saw plenty of angles. And
did you see the X-ray though?
X-ray,
yeah. The X-ray is what I saw, where the whole arm is completely outside of the ball socket joint, or on the elbow. I don't understand how she didn't tear every ligament and tendon in her elbow to get it that far up into the side.
Yeah, it was disgusting. Dudakova shoots a takedown very early into the fight. Dudakova, honestly, that she should have used that arm to stuff the takedown or get underhooks instead of like trying to brace her fall. Which like this is something like as a skateboarder, you never want to like brace your if you're falling, you don't do that with your arm. That's a nightmare scenario.
You keep a bend in it.
You want to keep it tight.
In it. Yeah,
you want to keep it tight. Like. She should have tried to post off her elbow or
off the forearm.
Yeah, as opposed to like extending like that. That's actually I did something similar. Obviously not as bad. I hyperextended my elbow in my college football career, and it was a very similar situation. I was like kind of knocked over, and I went to stop myself. It was a very similar situation, but it just hyperextended and didn't go full, chicken wing. But yeah, it was brutal. Not much to talk about here. Dudakova technically gets the win, improves to 7-0. She's 24 years old. Stella Nunez moves to 6-5, which is a tough UFC roster watch. Hit that notification button. and Dudakova, it's hard to I literally just have no take here. It's like we didn't learn anything. She's 7-0. She's still super green, super young. They're obviously trying to push her, kinda, I guess. On the prelims, but I don't know, man. I mean, do you have anything to say? I don't.
I learned one thing. Both these fighters are very good looking. That was about all I take away. Because
marketable.
I just want to show you. You're gonna tell me. You're gonna sit there and tell me Dudakova is not marketable.
I'm going with the swipe over there. Yeah, no, I mean, touche, fair play there. And we'll keep it pushing there. We're getting a call from HR.
Oh man, I was gonna look up Stella Nunes next. Tell him to hold on.
I got a minute.
Oh man, who is
I do think it's hilarious how
Tapology
will use swimsuit pictures.
There's a Stella Nunes.
Fucking baddie.
Yeah, it was tough, man. Her quote was, just to address one last thing, what she said. I have a lot of messages. Thank you all so much for your support and love. I'll respond to everyone when I get home. Thank you to all my fans. I felt very good and very strong. I guess you did. I prepared a lot for this fight. I knew today was my night. This was my fight. It obviously was not. It was literally quite the antithesis of anything in that statement. Finalize the quote. Well, but I'll come back stronger and show you all again.
The thing that makes it tough is, poor technique is what led to that injury. It wasn't that fluky. It's not like she took some bad step in her knee blew. Like she didn't she had zero takedown defense and then had both of their body weight coming down and sticks her arm out straight. What are you doing? It wasn't that fluky of an injury. The story's going to get told that it was a very fluky injury, but it was piss poor technique that got her hurt.
I will say this might make everyone at home feel better. That is her arm the same night. So
that's crazy. Just like Jamal Hill's wasn't a break. It looks like a break, but then it's popping back in.
Yeah, quite literally. Someone put the Leonardo DiCaprio meme with Jamal Hill's face of him pointing at the TV, and he's like, "That's my arm." As you said that, I was just scrolling Twitter.
Top tier meme. That's a top tier meme.
Shout out.
We'll keep it pushing to this featured prelim with Tucker Lutz plus 125 taking on Melsik Bagdasaryan minus 145 in the featherweight diviation. And this was a pretty good fight, honestly. It was pretty entertaining.
Super entertaining.
The guy had a lot of success, back and forth fight.
I also kind of thought there's very much a case for Tucker Lutz here.
Well, so I had round 1 to Lutz, round 2 to Bagdasaryan, and round 3 being very close. Is that how you saw it? It all came down to round 3?
That's exactly right. That's exactly how I saw it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then you also factored in there was a few squirrely moments in round 2. There was a low kick to Lutz that was pretty impactful. And then as the ref went in to stop the fight because of the low kick, Bagdasaryan lands that head.
Yeah, hard. And Lutz was like, "What the fuck, dog?" He was like, "God damn it."
Fucked up. That was kind of fucked up. Didn't love that. Kind of, I think, factored into the fight a little bit because I did give Bagdasaryan won that round. See, it's hard to say he won it fair and square when he had 2 fouls.
I know it.
You know what I mean? I don't know. The uppercuts at the start of the round were all fair game, and that was very, damaging and impactful. But, yeah, I don't know. Bagdasaryan got a little squirrely in 2. Lutz firmly won round 1, with the body kicks. The snoozy control was very snoozy, but it was enough to win him the round. And,
all of Lutz's control was so dog shit snoozy. That was actually what lost him this fight.
Yeah,
because I thought in round 3...
That's why I'm not dying on any hills. That's why I'm not dying on any hills.
I thought in round 3 he controlled more of the round and limited the damage he took super well, but literally did nothing in his own right. For as much as I just said for him, he didn't ever finish those positions.
Didn't have any damage.
Just no damage. Was literally. I mean, he literally just pressed Bagdasaryan to the fence and stuck him there and would hold him there when he could. It was kind of a sad fight to watch.
Just wore a singlet to the match. He literally didn't. He shouldn't even wear gloves. He didn't strike really. He was grappling only.
Oh no!
It wasn't.
It's crazy. Significant strikes. Tucker Lutz landed 36 significant strikes in 15 minutes of fighting.
Yeah, he wasn't really throwing it. It wasn't it was weird. I thought if he would have been more damaging with the control, that's why Bagdasaryan won the fight. Third round was close, but the damage battle. I'm not going to bat for Lutz. I'm not dying on the hill for Lutz. He didn't literally even really attempt any damage. So I'm not I'm glad Bagdasaryan won, honestly.
See, but I think how you said that's super important and why it's so tough is that he didn't even attempt to do damage. So the visual, the optic was poor. If he had just even tried to do damage, I think we might have seen it more in his favor.
I don't even think he attempted a submission, like not even like
No,
just striking damage.
no,
Like
no,
he
no.
literally didn't like go for it. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, I wasn't stoked to watch Lutz fight for this. I definitely won't be stoked for his next fight. Like I'm kind of out on Tucker Lutz. Not even that he's that bad. It's just like the least fan friendly style. Like yeah, he has a skill set, but like, this isn't grappling. This isn't wrestling. Like he stacked 3 L's in a row. Granted, one was the Pat Sabatini that aged well, but yeah, 3 L's in a row. UFC roster watch. That was his fourth fight too. So he's probably actually on UFC roster watch with that how the contracts time out. And then Bogdassarian, I don't think you necessarily earn anything, that glorious with this win. Granted, he was the featured prelim, so that kind of shows you that the UFC, kind of views him somewhat fondly. I think you match up him and Costa and just let that problem take care of itself. And I think it'd be a fan-friendly fight. It'd be a striker's delight. It'd be fun. You could probably put it in the featured prelim spot again. And like, I think that makes all the sense in the world. I don't think either of those guys really earned a ranked win. Featherweight's very deep. They both, didn't take the most damage.
Also,
I think
kind of super perfect for Bogdassarian in the sense that like his only loss is Culibao, which I mean Culibao solid loss, like that's
decent
aging
loss.
well.
Yeah.
So for Bogdassarian, it's like he's at the right point in his career where he can keep climbing and they can build that star. And Costa's the right guy where it's a super good test. So where if he's not ready, they're not going to waste the resources to build the star. But if he does beat Costa, it's worth putting into him. That's a perfect matchup, man. You actually nailed that on the head.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It makes some levels of sense for sure. But yeah, I mean, coming off this card, I mean, we didn't really know what we got with Dudikova, but she's a 7-0 prospect. I think the winner of Bagdasari and Costa could go on to make some level of noise. Azat Maxim, like not ultra high on him, but I mean, he's going to be something in the featherweight division. Just kind of they need the depth, if anything else, and then. Aylin Perez honestly might be my favorite prospect on the card for reasons that I won't get into.
No, really? Not Dudikova?
No, I'm more of a Perez guy. Me and old Fabiano. I'm gonna need some translation.
Oh, you and old Fabiano Bushki. That guy's name is sick. That guy's name is sick. I've always thought that. Fabiano Bushki.
He's good on Twitter too. Like he'll lean into some of the memes and jokes and stuff. Like he's a good sport.
I also think he might be one of the best translators. Like when he speaks, it actually sounds like he is actually talking as though he is the person that he is translating.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm a big fan of Fabiano. He's for sure. No, he's dope. And I mean that wraps up the prelims for this card. If you want to hear our breakdown for next week's card, our early knee-jerk predictions, that's on the end of the main card episode, so go check that out. We just released a bunch of shorts, and I think we're going to have a few more coming for you, so go support those, give those a thumbs up, and maybe share them on your social media, and hit that subscribe button, man. Every fight, every card, we do not miss, and we'll be back next week. Aspinall, who's Aspinall?
Tybura!
Aspinall Tybura.
Aspinall,
man, I don't know.
Tybura.
He might play spoiler, man. He might play spoiler.
It's tough because I don't love the number Aspinall's at. I mean, I know we referenced it on our main card breakdown, but for anyone that hasn't got to that yet, because I know you're going to watch, you fuckers, Aspinall's minus 450. Like, I don't love coming off a major injury. I don't love that.
Yeah, at home, a lot of pressure. And
now, did we take an 8-leg parlay on all the English fighters? Except for Jacasey? Yeah, we did.
And if it hits, we're meeting up in Vegas on
100%,
Vegas.
100%.
That'll be so sick. Hell yeah, that's got to happen. That's got to happen. But yeah, take it easy, brother. Fun episode. Hit that subscribe button, episode 130.